The Experience Machine is a thought experiment that was done by Robert Nozick in 1974. To introduce you to the Experience Machine, I will use Nozick's words, which are as follows. What matters other than how people's experiences feel from the inside? Suppose there were an experience machine that would give you any experience that you desired. Should you plug into this machine for life, pre-programming your life's experiences? Nozick, 1974, page 1. Nozick says no, and it would not plug into the experience machine. But I say yes, and I would plug into the experience machine. Nozick argues that purpose, deeply profound connection, who you are, and the actual act of doing are intrinsically more valuable than a false reality of the mere experience of doing things and happiness. Because you are disconnected from actuality and happiness is but a small part of it. Therefore, you should not plug into the machine, and Nozick himself would not. In support of this argument, Nozick, 1974, asks us, what does matter to us in addition to our experiences? Page 1. And says that we want to do certain things and not just have the experience of doing them. Nozick, 1974, page 1. However, Nozick, 1974, also says that while in the tank, you won't know that you're actually there. You'll think it's all actually happening. And that you would think and feel you were writing a great novel, or making a friend, or reading an interesting book. Nozick, 1974, page 1. So, the issue Nozick presents, the lack of substance and depth in our experiences in the machine, only arises if the person in the tank is aware of actuality, and they are not. And thus, herein lies my argument for going into the tank. I say that if we are fully unaware of and disconnected from actuality, then our perceived reality, the experiences that Nozick describes, and actuality are one and the same, and the actuality that Nozick speaks of does not matter. Therefore, I would plug into the experience machine. So, while what I care about most, as Nozick 1974 puts it, is to live ourselves in contact with reality, page 2, I believe that actuality and reality can be the same, and so the reality that Nozick refers to in this quote is our time in the experience machine. So say that we do write a great novel while in the experience machine. This novel in the experience machine, we can feel it. We are experiencing the process of writing. We are feeling the process of writing, and there is a tangible story being made while we are completely unaware of the outside world. I've had dreams where I was in a deep enough sleep that I could feel the sensation of those within the dream hugging me. And this experience inside the experience machine is surely a deeper state of mind than any dream I have ever had. So let's say that we can physically feel the paper's texture in the experience machine. We can feel the pencil in our hand, see the graphite apply to the paper, just like we can in a real book in actuality. If I were to write a novel in this manner in actuality, it would be much the same as the novel in this experience. So if I'm unaware of the outside world, how am I to think that the novel I am writing is not real? The novel and the perceived reality of the experience machine is real because I think it is and have no reason to think otherwise. And the same goes for a novel written in actuality. And thus, in this way, actuality and the perceived reality of the experience machine are equivalent and a distinction is irrelevant, because I do not know there to be an actuality different from my reality. Another issue that Nozick, 1974, brings about in support of his argument that we should not enter the experience machine is his claim that the experience machine does not meet our desire to be a certain way, page 2, and mentions a separate transformation machine that turns us into any person that we want to be, Nozick, 1974, page 2. If we were limited to only our own experiences, I would agree that there would be no growth, for we would be limited to experience only our own, and there would be nothing new. However, we are able to pick through a, quote, large library or smorgasbord of such experiences, Nozick 1974, page 1, comprised of experiences that have been created and pulled from the lives of many others. As Nozick 1974 writes, business enterprises have researched thoroughly the lives of many others, page 1. Thus, if we can experience experiences that are completely alien and brand new to us, gain input and inputs from experiences that do not exist within our minds in the slightest, those of other people that we have no concept, knowledge, or preconceived notion of, how could we not grow from that? Experiencing something brand new will surely change us and will contribute to who we are, and therefore the experience machine does meet our desire to be a certain way. But what about when you unplug, one may say? It is true that one contingency that is written about in the thought experiment is that you can only be plugged into the experience machine for 2 years, and then you must be unplugged, where you will then spend anywhere between 10 minutes and 10 hours picking your experiences for the next 2 years. Nozick, 1974, page 1. What happens when you become aware of actuality? What if the contrast of the perceived reality and happiness of the experience machine and the realization of actuality when you unplug and pick new experiences is too much to bear? To this I say, is this not a risk in all that we do for pleasure? When we expect or strive for satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness, are not dissatisfaction and unhappiness risks that we face in these pursuits? And what are we before happiness, and what will we be after we achieve it? Unhappiness is a guarantee before happiness, a risk during the pursuit of happiness, and a risk after never achieving happiness is also a possibility. However, in the experience machine, happiness is a guarantee, and thus before getting and after getting out, unhappiness is a risk just as it is in actuality. And therefore, the idea that we should not get into the experience tank because the unhappiness we feel when we are no longer perfectly happy would be too much to bear is not a reason to not plug in. Because then, we in actuality would never do anything that could make us happy.